Welcome back to Half Moon's Picks, and let's talk about the AFC West. First off, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers seem to be the favorite in this division, but not by much. This division pretty much can go anybody's way. In reality, you don't know. I mean, it's a close-knit bunch for all four teams. But we're going to talk about the Chargers first. One thing that held the Chargers back last couple years, well, actually two things. First would be injuries. And they do have a couple of injuries that happened already. They have a defensive end, Joey Bosa. He got an injured foot, and the big one was the cornerback, Jason Barrett, cornerback, has a torn Achilles. Aside from injuries, that can happen to any team, but it seems like for whatever reason the Chargers seem to be more acceptable to it. Second would be their kicking. The only team the Browns have a win to in the last 2 years are the Chargers. He's a poor kicking. Now they tried to sign a kicker before they managed to get Khalid Sturgis. He's from the Eagles, and he's a decent kicker, so I grant the Chargers for that. But they tried to get Roberto Oreguea from the Tampa Bay Bucks. He was the last place kicker last year. Last place stats. He missed 9 field goals, 71% in 2017. That would have been a big disappointment if the Chargers grabbed him. But they grabbed the Eagles kicker instead, so thank goodness for that. Because I definitely wouldn't have him first place if they would have went with Roberto. Quarterback Phillip Rivers still leads the helm in this, and he seems to be pretty healthy the last couple of years. Just the team around him just pretty much crumbled from it. They also signed quarterback Geno Smith from the Jets, and then he went to, I think, Giants last year. Not a great backup, but a backup nonetheless. And so that's basically it. They did not too many trades and signings in the offseason. They pretty much got the same team as they did last year, just improving their kicking team. It's pretty bad when you had 5 kickers in 2017 and finished last at 67% of field goal attempts. So you look at the numbers here. We got the 20-1 Super Bowl odds. Win totals 9.5. Last year they went 9-7. Strength of schedule fairly easy for the majority of this division. The 24th place, and they were 3-3 in their division. And I think the Chargers will get 10 wins or over. So I'm guessing around 10, 11 wins if I were to take a good strong guess. They got them at 9.5. So yeah. 10 is my magic number, and I think they'll win this division. Next, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs has a big question mark at quarterback, and when you got a big question mark at quarterback, it's usually don't favor your way. You got Patrick Mahomes, the second. He's playing the small ball in the Kansas City Chiefs game. They'll do mostly running and small, short passes. Practice training camp, the film I saw, he didn't look all that great. And I only seen like a half a game he played in. So yeah, I know he got an arm on him, but knowing the Chiefs, Andy Reid does not like throwing those long passes. He likes the short game, and he likes the ball control. He likes the defensive struggling run game. But Mahomes, of that one game he did play, he had 22 completions after 35 attempts, 0 touchdowns with 1 interception. So yeah, I'm not liking that. I don't know. They in the offseason, the Chiefs traded Alex Smith to Washington for cornerback Kendall Fuller and a 3rd-round pick in the 2018 draft. That, to me, was a bad idea. I would have definitely kept Alex Smith, and especially with the league that has so few talented quarterbacks. Alex Smith was I'd say just above average, and definitely wouldn't have kept, Mahomes over Alex Smith unless he sees something I don't. Some of the other things that happened with the Kansas City Chiefs, they agreed a 3-year contract with Sammy Watkins, wide receiver from the Rams. So they got a decent wide receiver now. And they signed quarterback Chad Henne to a 2-year contract. He's the backup quarterback to Jacksonville. And so if Mahomes don't work out, they'll bring in Chad Henne. Chad Henne, he definitely do the small ball, no doubt about it. And they also got Matt McGloin behind him. Some of the things, I love about Kansas City, I love tight end Travis Kelce. And, of course, they got Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins as wide receiver. So they got a decent passing core. Kelce, I draft him in fantasy every year. He does great. Kareem Hunt, from my hometown, Toledo University. Great running back. And behind him, Spencer Ware. So they got a good offense. Just the quarterback. It's just that when you don't have a quarterback, no matter how much talent you got on offense, without that quarterback position, you pretty much, you can make a play here or there, but you're not going to be consistent. Their defense looks kind of sketchy, and they shuffled around their cornerbacks. So their defense, to me, does not look that great. And their offense, without a quarterback, is going to be suspect at times. So second place, looking at the numbers, we got 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. Win totals 8.5. Last year they did go 10-6, and they got the hardest strength of schedule in the division at 19. Like I said, last year they went 5-1, and I would think Kansas City's a 7 or 8 team win. See, that 8.5 is like right on the money. Can they pull out 9 wins? I'm not with that quarterback now. I'm sorry. I think 8 would be the most, so I'm going under on this one. All right, third we got the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders. What's in the news with them? A new head coach, John Gruden. He replaced Jack Del Rio. He's been out of the league for 10 years, and when you're out of anything, no matter what, for 10 years, things change. So he, he's a great sportscaster, probably one of the best. I think the owner of the Raiders is just a big fan of his and wanted him no matter what. And to me, when you haven't did a job in 10 years, it's going to affect you. At least for the first year until you get back into it and you learn the things that have been new, you're used to and you know how to cover it. So because no matter what, a business, a practice, a job, anything in 10 years will have changed. All right, so and Khalil Mack still on a holdout. That's the next thing in the news. He might get traded. I know Green Bay's looking for him. He's 3-2 on Bovada if you want to bet on what team he's going to go to right now. But he's not seeing eye to eye with the coaching staff. So, and he's probably asking too much money as well. Some of the other things in the Raiders news, they signed running back Doug Martin from Tampa Bay. He gets injured a lot, Tampa Bay. Being from Tampa, my secondary team, knowing Tampa, he doesn't play a full season, usually not. So he could be injured, but you got Marshawn Lynch, he'll be the main carrier. So maybe Doug Martin is secondary. They'll probably trade runs. See, they released Michael Crabtree, great. He was the top-notch wide receiver for the Raiders, and he went to Baltimore. But they did replace him with Jordy Nelson, two different types of receivers altogether. To a 2-year contract. He's from Green Bay. He has good chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, but with Carr, that's a good question. See, they signed quarterback E.J. Manuel to back up Derek Carr, and Tahir Whitehead from the Lions. They signed him to a 3-year contract. Tahir, he's been with the Lions since we drafted him in 2012. but he's like 28, so he's up there in years, and that's what the Lions saw, basically. 28 is the number with an outside linebacker, and getting long in the tooth. And a lot of people are saying these Raiders are getting too old, like a retirement villa, And I looked up that, and they are ranked 23 in age. So there's only a handful of teams below them that have more older players than these Raiders. And looking at their numbers, they're 28-1 to win the Super Bowl. They have 8 win totals predicted to win. Last year they went 6-10. Strength of schedule is 29, so it's down there. There's only a couple of teams that are below them. Division they went 2-4, but I don't think they're going to hit the 8 mark. That's just too high of a number for me. I think they'll be around 5 or 6. I think they're probably bottom in the division, just because some of their signings they did. To me, it doesn't look good on paper. But you never know. They might have great chemistry, but you're right. Everybody on this team's been on another team aside from Derek Carr. So to me, I don't think they're going to do it right. And looking at the last but not least, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos in the off season basically traded Aqib Talib to the Rams for a 5th round pick in the draft. They also lost Trevor Siemian for a 7th round pick to Minnesota. And they acquired Case Keenum from the Minnesota Vikings as well. So they'll be starting Case Keenum. To me, it had one good year in Minnesota, around a beautifully designed Minnesota team that can put anybody in quarterback back there and have a great team. From there, will he do it in Denver? No, Denver's offense is a train wreck, basically. He's looking at these quarterbacks. You got Case Keenum, behind him Paxton Lynch, and behind him Chad Kelly. If you don't know who Chad Kelly is, he's a 2017 draft rookie. Never played a game before. Played at Ole Miss. You never know. He might be a great star, but you won't know until you see him play. Their defense, on the other hand, on the other side of the ball, is a good defense, a solid defense. And they didn't do too much as far as the defense requires. And we know this is going to be a defensive struggle. But if the other team gets too far ahead, just like in the last few years, the Denver Broncos won't be able to catch up, in my opinion. It'll probably be their 2nd losing season in a row. First time in a long time with the Denver Broncos. And looking at the numbers, you got 40-1 to win the Super Bowl. 7 win totals. And last year they went 5-11. Strength of schedule is 25. Not too bad. And division they went 2-4. Same with the Raiders. And again, I'm going with the under. I don't think the Denver Broncos will make it to 8. So 7 seems to be a viable number. But I think, I'm going under. I would say, 5 to 6 wins, if I were to take a guess on this one. Like I said, looking at this division, anything can happen. So many things that are unanswered for every team. Like, can the Chargers stay healthy? Can the Chiefs get away with having a new quarterback and building around them like the Vikings do? Can the Raiders have this new team with all these signings get some decent wins? And can the Broncos do anything with that offense whatsoever? Too many questions to know. But that's my prediction. This is what I'm saying is going to happen. And that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the rest of the month. I'll have every division covered in the NFL before the season starts, and then my predictions each week as the season goes along. Stay tuned. I will see you here. Half Moon's Picks. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter as I go additional picks throughout the season as well. And my first video of the year will have some pools I'm in. If you want to verse me and see how well you do in your picks, I will see you then. Peace. You enjoy placing a few bucks on your favorite team? Maybe try your hand at cards or on the slot. Use me as a reference and click the link in the description below and receive a new member bonus and help support this channel. Bovada, just better.